Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, innovating, and amazing Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, the one, the only master propaganda hero, psych defender of the fatherland. Off here to a 1v1 on Amilly Fields in the north is Prabuty, fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland, the Panzerdivision. With Festung Armour, the not quite sensibly named commander, with Panther 4 Model Yates, Panther Tactician, Hold Down, Pack 43s, and Railway Telesport in the south it is. Login, fighting for America, freedom, and democracy. Here with the 3rd Armored Division with Mechanized, Airborne, and Infantry. We got Gundam MD42 versus Double Rifle Start, and a big hearty thanks to my patron supporters. Wonderful people and all keep the Propagandacast going, so big thanks to all those and their continuous incredible support. Also, a big thanks to Nonoops Pleasy and to Maybe Me for donating to the Propagandacast and supporting me with the hard-earned money that way as well. So big thanks to those. Other people can follow in these people's heroic example by pledging on Patreon or donating by PayPal themselves. Links in the description. Finally, you can also use pre-order companies free through the link in the comments. Use the CoH2 3G, in which case I get a 15% cut of the sale. So, off to the races we are here. Lock in with infantry, featuring ripened defensive structures, mortar half-tracks, light machine guns, time and target artillery barrages, and the Priest, Gundam MD42 versus Double Rifleman. Switching eastwards here with 1 squad, 2 squads being dispatched westwards. Clearly looking to mess what anticipates to be the main German effort there in the northern point here. Samex here in case of a German assault here. Festung Armour, not one of the most popular Wehrmacht commanders, but still see some usage here and there. The Panther 4 Model in the right hand is still, I think, an excellent in-game tank. In the actual war, the Panther 4 Model was, in some ways, a less stalwart version of the Panther 4. It was more of a budget model, lacking several crucial components, all just made to be easier to produce. Grand Eastern field with the Rifle Squad. Pioneers based up north as well there. 3rd Rifle Squad almost done for login. So far, fairly standard openings. MD42 was Rifle Squad in the center, quickly popping in there and popping out. Could try and flank around here. Get around the machine gun. Instead, he pops into the shed here. Actually, not a bad idea. This way, you can see what the machine gun is doing because he probably anticipates Prabuty might be trying to respond to a possible flank here, so moves the machine up there. Thumbs up to login. That was the right thought there. 3rd Grenadier Squad here for Prabuty. We'll have to see if login goes for a 4th squad here, or he will go for the lieutenant or the captain. Westwards, there, Gleason going up here. 3rd Grenadier Squad there for Prabuty. Ralph goes to the Pioneers here, by the Eastern Victory Point, in the center of the Ralph going as well here. Looks like the fighting is going to be most in the east for now. Backing off here quickly, not going to tangle here. And what will Prabuty do? I do believe Prabuty is not quite taking up there, perhaps landing a 4th Grenadier Squad, perhaps not. Samex here, but again the machine is back in the same position. Once more ruining Loggins, attempted again by the center. And in here the east, Prabuty advances, interesting enough knowing this Ralph Squad on the flank him, meaning the Rifleman can actually surround and catch Prabuty's force, then a bit of a crossfire. Interesting choice there by Prabuty. Not entirely sure if I'd have done that, or I would have just played even more aggressively. I don't know. Either way, though, forced to retreat here. We got more troops pushing up through the center here. And in the far west here, the lock-in takes advantage of this to go for the western field point with the rear echelons. But in east, you can see sort of being slowly turned against him again as Prabuty coordinates all his forces into a larger conglomerate of infantry. And he's, in fact, going for a 4th Grenadier Squad here. Pretty heavy tier 1. As Login's lieutenant is almost done here. So fairly heavy tier 1 here from Prabuty and the Panzerdivision. Ralph Squad with Samex on the carve point. Outmaneuvering here the main force at the carve points. A typical feature, I would say, of a lot of Amilly Fields matches. If a player goes too hard in one spot, typically the other player, if he's smart, will try and avoid the force and instead go straight for the carve points in the rear lines, forcing the opponent to pull back main forces to deal with that. Machine gun repositioning a bit again. Almost got the western field point. Return sitting up. 5th car there for login. And Prabuty may soon be taking up here, I guess. Next. We'll have to see what Prabuty does. There we go. Tack on the way there. Fuel point in the east here. Being seized, police is going to move around there. Force back the machine gun pretty swiftly. And the center of the Ralph Squad rushing the Grenadiers in the Prabuty's command. We've got more Grenadiers providing up fire support up north here. There's a good chance here still that Loggins Ram could have come to the Grenadiers here. And the east lieutenant pushed back the machine gun on the west side here. Reasons versus Pioneers. Just so many firefights across the place here. And the Grenadier Squad in the retreat past some Loggins infantry hoping to get a wipe in, perhaps. Perhaps not. 5th cal out there, reinforcements going on there for login. And the 3rd Armored Division, Reasons here, slightly getting some kills on the Pioneer, though in heavy cover. It's going to be pretty difficult for the rear echelons to deal with them fast enough. Ralph's got the Grenadiers here, moving around for carve points there. 5th cal moving to deal with the Grenadiers there. Prabuty under fairly heavy pressure here from Lock-in. The Lock-in, of course, at the same time is being pressured in return. Neither side, they're really letting up much pressure against the other one there. Ralph scorching from the center, narrowly avoiding being wiped out here. Lieutenant rushing in there with his Thompson. And his freedom. Up north, the Regiment, they almost got the Pioneers, but again, didn't prevent them from grabbing the fuel point there. So right now, Lock-in, it's not getting a lot of fuel compared to Prabuty. It's getting practically 3 times as much fuel per minute. So we'll have to see what Prabuty does next. Going to do something out there. Could go for a bunch of LMG-42s here to put pressure on Lock-in. There's some machine and Gewehren. Lock-in, I imagine, in return, will probably be focusing on getting some running light machine guns going, though first an ambulance. Return something out to ground western point of the echelons there. Can use 74 moving forwards there. Ambulance halfway down there. For a Lock-in and the 3rd Armored Division. Panzer Division launching his assault here for the western fuel point. Then we can see their Lock-in very definitely just retreats rather than stick it out. Grenadiers is advancing. I like to mechanize company for Prabuty and the German army. From the eastern point of the rifle squad. Note the Panzer Division got its name because it was formed up from training and instruction battalions across Germany. They basically put together, you know, a lot of, so say, the best instructors and training personnel from a variety of divisions, plus a mix of Eastern Front veterans to form up an elite division on the spot. Now, this was kind of an extension of a program they kind of had going before that, where they basically occasionally from division, you know, various training units across Germany, they'd form up cadres to that way, shall say, update the curriculum by sending them to the front line. Little fun fact. There you go. Big push in the south. Grenadiers push back in the face of 2 route squads. Backed up the rear echelon. Center east here. East side, there you go. Route squad. Pioneers moving in here as well. Then he's being routed here. 5th Cal tearing into the retreating Germans. And we got an armored car here for Prabuty. So far, fairly standard here. 1 to 2 there, of course, in the right hands is a potent tool. Catching Lieutenant out here, of course, with his bazooka. East side here, we got Ralph Scott, the Grenadiers here. Light machines up there for Prabuty's forces. Lock-in, by the way, at this point can start equipping as well with the Browning light machine gun. Significant increase in the firepower of his infantry. Not be surprised if he's also planning a Stuart light tank. Yep. And Prabuty goes for a slight surprise, which is a second 2-2. Not particularly common nowadays, in part because some of the bombing mine maps isn't really great for more than 1 armored car, but also it does require a fair amount of micromanagement skills. But 2-2s can be quite potent, but again, the increased amount of management you really need to make this work, typically for a lot of players, just doesn't feel like it's worth it, so they rarely go for more than 1 2-2. But again, 2-2s can actually do quite good work. So we'll have to see how Prabuty handles it here. Around the eastern fuel point there. Enforcing healing. Ralph Squadron West was there. Got the armoured cars linking up here to form up a patrol, as it was known. Basically, armoured cars were formed into patrols of 2 from a platoon of, shall I say, I think roughly 6 armoured cars, as a fun fact. Here's me caught here by the patrol, being a ripped apart here. And again, 2-2s can really deliver some intense anti-infantry damage. You can take on stuff like a Stuart light tank if you angle them correctly. And certainly, Amilly Fields is probably one of the better maps to try and make use of 2-2s because the map is generally more wide and open and does allow for more, shall we say, maneuver space for light vehicles. So I would say on a map like Amilly Fields, double 2-2s is a pretty solid choice. Pack full of up ahead for Prabuty. Ooh, bit of extension here by Lock-in. Right into the Pantophars here. Theoretically, what the 2-2s can now do is actually just burst right past the frontal armor and find to the rear armor, though the Lieutenant with his bazooka nearby makes this, I think, much tougher here for Prabuty to achieve versus Lock-in. Ralph Squad, they've routed. Could see roughing it off here. There we go. Quickly dodged. Definitely so. Stuart, they're being hauled back for repairs. As we can see, the Lieutenant is blocking the pursuit for the armored cars. That set the Lieutenant can't up forever, in particular since he's not in heavy cover. Now the question is, will he probably pursue here? I don't think so with the 5th Cal. Need to gap that eastern fuel pump. We do have light machines up here for Lock-in's men. Popping into the shed here and fire with the light machine gun. Machine gun there being flanked. Reinforcing healing. And the west side, we got the shoulder move again here for freedom and democracy. MU-42 right in the center there. Armored cars falling back. Grabbing the eastern fuel pit of the rifle squad. And there you go, good shot from the Stuart and the Grenadiers there, blasting them to bits. 5th coming at the western fuel point, victory point, I mean. Armoured car C versus the Stuart. Pack 40 joining in there. Go. Shoots, hits the wooden shed. 1 to 2. They're heavily damaged. The Pioneers at hand. They will, of course, swiftly fix it up here. Stuart getting credit in the Grenadiers here. Rifle squad being pushed back. 5th covers the Grenadiers in the west. Bazooka fire there. And he's taking some nasty hits. Almost getting wiped out. In fact, that'd be pretty handy, obviously, there for Logan. If we could wipe one of Prabuty's Grenadiers. That said, collapsing the center packs. Being overwhelmed, possibly here. Of course, still got the armored cars for covering fire here. Stuart there, pulling a bit back. All these packs trying to flank around it to what the Pack 40 head on. That would be very sensible here. Pioneers, I think, are just trying to take advantage of Logan's attention. The armored car to get some free hits. In fact, it's working out very nicely before joining in. There we go, halting Logan's. Well, straight up push through the run. Center there, Pantherfos and the Stuart again in the west here. And now there's actually a chance that Prabuty could potentially take out the Stuart here with a double 2-2, so even the Pack 40, but the 2-2s I think have the better chance of catching up with it and getting behind it. That's it. The question is Prabuty willing to risk this here versus Logan, or is he just figuring he doesn't need to? Eastern MD42s, the Rifle squad, they quickly push them back. Back at base here, nothing further transpiring there for Prabuty as of yet. They could start taking up his zone. As for Logan, we got the captain, El Capitan. Guessing he wants to go for some anti-tanks to help counter the double 2-2, as you can see again, it can be quite the threat to deal with in the hands of a proper commander. And it's clearly giving Logan a nasty case of the heebie-jeebies. Ground western fuel point there, very good. As for Prabuty, he's taking up. Bunker up as well, and so another reason Logan might be wanting to go for the captain anti-tank guns is that particular concern of being hit by German tanks faster than he's ready for otherwise, so getting the captain and some anti-tank guns out, that of course is a very solid investment here. West side, the armored car flank up behind the 5th cal, quick pushing back there for Deutschland. He's even upgraded by the reactions with a light machine gun, which indicated that Logan really wants some firepower. Captain out there. Finding around here, Gunny's been caught in a bit of a deadly crossfire with a lot of light machine guns firing to them. And they're caught on the wrong side of the heavy cover too. That is extra bad there for Prabuty's Grenadiers. Close to getting wiped there on the west side. We got the resistance and the lieutenant here versus the Germans in the west. Almost getting a wipe here. Almost. But not quite, it looks like. Fortune smiles upon Prabuty. Oh, apparently only to reveal a wicked grin and then crashing Prabuty's hopes. And now we got a rifle squad with 2 light machine guns. That is definitely bad news here for Prabuty's infantry and other soft targets. That set the armored car alongside the guns ready to punish the Yankees. Stuart moving in. M1 and 10 there for Logan, Freedom and Democracy. Almost got the Stuart there, packed from the Stuart. Back at base here, nothing transpiring for Prabuty as of yet. They can't build its diploma corps. As for Logan, the anti-tank gun is almost ready. Could of course use the captain to advance it up faster, but I imagine he wants just prioritizing more infantry in the field, in which case he does have 5 squads of infantry versus Prabuty's 3. Now can Logan actually turn this into like a more direct map control advantage is of course a bigger question, because the 2 armored cars definitely can help contain Logan's infantry. Ralph was the armored car in the east. Pioneer sitting out. Troops enforcing healing. Still moving up. Ralph with the Grenadiers is still pursuing the 2-2. And on its own, it obviously stands no chance against the Stuart. So yeah, with the infantry, we can see there Logan has managed to get better map control here versus Prabuty. The Stuart helping contain the armored cars somewhat. Of course, by now Prabuty can start pushing for tanks here. At which point again, things might change, turn against Logan and the 3rd Armored Division once more. Blitz rolling up here. 5th cal holding up. West side, we got Lieutenant Bishop with the western fuel point. So Palmer Corps halfway done here for Prabuty. Good shot from the pack on the Stuart there. Captain Ralph Squad coming in there. Stuart in need repairs. Will Prabuty try and pursue here? It looks like the answer to that is 9. Going for a regular pentafall here, perhaps intentional, perhaps not. Hard to say yet, of course, because of the situation. I don't blame him for going for the regular pentafall first, though. On the other hand, I've also been on the end where I just accidentally went for the Model J, a regular pentafall rather than Model J myself, so I do understand if he made that mistake. I've definitely made it by myself. There we go, just tons of light machines. They're ripping through their Prabuty's Grenadiers, who are absolutely outmatched there. Prabuty, of course, forced to retreat here with absolutely nothing to support the Grenadiers there. There is no way to get out of that situation without, just losing more men. 10 falling back on the west here, and we got the Major out there, so Login starting to push for his own armor soon. Panther right around the corner here for Prabuty and the Panzerlehr Panzer Division. 5th Cavalry Division in the center, and there you go. Panther ready here for Prabuty. At the panel mounted MG42, there we go. Thumbs up to that. And replace the lost Grenadiers with more Grenadiers. Would like to do the Panzer Grenadier myself, but oh well. Panther setting out. West side here, whoops. Lieutenant versus the advancing Grenadiers. Lacking a light machine gun, though. Larkin's Lieutenant is definitely not quite able to match the Grenadiers at range here. Of course, the Stuart proves to be ample aid. Anti-tank ready in the east, Panther 4 also in the east. Now the anti-tank for Login, obviously again quite aware of the possibility of German armor anytime in the near future, so having more anti-tank guns, and in general double anti-tank guns is just really powerful. There's a reason why most players will go for it at some point. That said, Amilly Fields being again one of the better, not one of the best 1v1 maps currently, actually makes just going for double anti-tank it's a bit harder because it is over a larger and broader map, so it's a lot harder to just, lock down a good chunk of the map with a pair of anti-tank guns. So if Prabuty keeps his wits about him, the double anti-tank install strategy should be a lot harder to achieve versus him. Unless, of course, he parks his Panther right in front of the anti-tank guns. But that said, and he's ripping through the anti-tank crew with particular grim ease, and there you go, wiping the crew in a matter of seconds. Part the blow there to Login. Machine with the Ralph Squad here in the east. And further east, we've got Ralph Squad with the double armored cars, need support everywhere. And of course, there's a matter of his anti-tank gun, which Prabuty immediately sets about destroying. Can Login get it back here before Prabuty wrecks it? So far, though, Prabuty's guns are proven to be particularly inept at hitting it. There we go. You just need to, taunt them a bit, it seems. The inept, yeah? I'll show you inept. See? He hits this utterly inanimate object after several shooting shots to hone in on it. Yeah, I think they may not be as good as you'd like to be. And there we go. Armor conduct by the Stuart. Small win here for Login. Another anti-tank and again to replace the one that was lost. Beta missions floating about there. Could easily add a light machine to the captain as well. Hell, he could even go for one for the Major. Or he could start laying down mines for the rifleman defensive structures, but there you go. Instead, we got an artillery strike here against Prabuty. On the Pioneers by the eastern victory point. That seems a bit excessive for 180 munitions. Unless, of course, Prabuty isn't paying attention. In which case, yeah. West side, he went with the gunnies on the western point there. So, what will happen next for Prabuty? More Panther 4s, actual Panther 4 Model Js. We'll try and go for tier 4 here. As for Login, maybe a Sherman, maybe Jackson's. Could also go for Scots. There you go. Note he catching the Grenadiers in a pretty awkward spot here. Flanking around, and of course, sending out his men on the retreat path here to increase the chances of wiping up. Thumbs up to Login here. Definitely punishing Prabuty. At least this time, there were no light machines were handed over to the Americans there by the Germans. Moving up the east side, we got 277 versus 385 in terms of victory points. Anti-tank at the end being caught with the Grenadiers here. More Grenadiers here for Prabuty, more replacements for losses. Still no Panzer Grenadier. Anti-tank being hosed here on the flanks. And there we go, almost got the Grenadier squad right there. 4th Grenadier squad ready for Prabuty, once more. And there you go, M1 anti-tank and rapidly gets a shot off there through the frontal armor of the 2-2. West point seized by the Lieutenant under Login's command. And the MD42 reaches Veteran 2 in the center. Eastern field being seized by the Grenadiers. Totally called in again, this time though imagined by the Major. Significantly cheaper. But still reasonably, you know, fast and effective. But this time only auto perished. Could still stand to upgrade his lieutenant with a light machine gun as well, but that's just me. Unless he's planning to have bazookas, I guess, to some of his men. Last call, they're getting snapped at the Panther 4. Prabuty can soon go for another regular one, or could save a bit longer for a Panzer 4 Model J. Around the eastern point here, tank traps again. Lock-in keeps up the assault here for freedom and democracy. Let's do it there. 4 kills, Veteran 2. And you can see that Prabuty's been basically pushed back to the base here by Lock-in. Doesn't really help, he's just got a bunch of unupgraded Grenadiers at this point either. Not really going to do a lot against Veteran Rifleman with a lot of light machine guns himself. That definitely creates a bit of a challenge here for Prabuty, and I think will necessitate more that, you know, he gets in some tanks soon here, like the Panther 4 Model J. Push back against the Amerikaner. Fifth going to be caught here with the armored car, pushing forward to that one. Could pop Panzer Tactician in front of it to maybe allow the Grenadiers to push in as well, but there you go. Clearly doesn't matter, in fact might get the 5th kill wiped here unless the double M1 anti-tank guns knock out the armored car. And they almost did too. Close call there for Prabuty's 2-2. It's a lot of fighting here, a lot of engagements, a lot of aggression here. Prabuty can soon go for the Panther 4 Model J, the Panzerkampfwagen 4 Ausführung J. Sherman for Lock-in. There we go, Model J on the way there for Prabuty. Okay, troop reinforcing healing. Sherman halfway down there, and of course could supervise it with the captain to get out much faster here. North here, Panther will push back the echelon still. Lock-in's got great map control here. One thing I do think he should be doing is laying down mines with this rifleman here and there. Again, that could make it much harder for Prabuty to stage a comeback. In particular, if he catches any of the panzers on the mines, it could really make things so much more comfortable for Prabuty. And the Panzerlehr Panzer shown here, 5th Panzer Grenadier Company. Major wiped out. Not quite a major blow though to Lock-in, but certainly better than nothing. Model J right around the corner. Ausführung J. Should of course add the payload-mounted machine gun to that one as well. Machine gun caught here with the rifle squads and air light machine guns. There you go. With armored side skirts already as well, which the Model J technically had. Alongside, I believe, was the Model H. Rifle squad being hammered the Panther 4s. Still the Model J though, compared in-game to the regular Panther 4, has more accuracy as well. Plus gets more accuracy vetted too, so despite so on top of just having to start out with armor, it also just has much better anti-infantry performance. Adding the payload-mounted machine gun gewehr there. Flanking the 5th killer with the Panther 4, great shots. Anti-tank shoots, bounces off the Panther 4's armor there. Second shot that goes through. Sherman also going for the kill here, at least attempted kill. Panther 4 down to half health here. Also not only cleared the machine gun, but destroyed it. Definitely a bit more painful there for Lock-in. He could go for more Shermans. He could also decide maybe he wants a Jackson to engage the Panther 4s at slightly safer ranges. In particular the Model J. Sherman rifle squad moving forward, see. Still moving in as well, the anti-tank moving forward as well. East side of the armored car with the Riesens to try and make a run here for the eastern victory point here, but of course they're going to move straight to line of fire the Panther 4s as well if they're not careful. Still, we got 150 versus the 385 here. Prabuty's victory point situation is still starting to look a bit more risky. As for Lock-in, starting to get the impression he wants a Jackson tank, so how to engage. German armor at more safe ranges. Almost got the armored car there. In fact, it's right about ready to explode. There we go. Leaving Prabuty now just for the Panzers. That said, I'd argue the 2-2-2's got plenty of value out of them. So we're definitely, I think, a good investment here for Prabuty. Considering then factor in he's got like managed to use them to like gain such a map advantage that by the time, you know, Larkin has one Sherman out, he's got 2 Panther IVs. Of course, now the situation's slightly turning against him. And now Larkin, I think, has a more chance to actually get more tanks here going than Prabuty. And he's in fact going for the second Sherman. No Jacksons for him. Panther IVs, they're being fixed up.
A capture point is under attack.
One of the major changes of the Model J was in fact that most Panther IVs actually had an electrical generator engine there for the turret, so it basically could rotate around easily, but the Model J actually had a hand cranked turret, meaning turret rotation in that one was significantly slower. Fun fact.
Capture point is being overrun. Incoming fire.
Straight into a mine here, losing Friedrich and Jürgen.
Sherman ready.
Sherman out there for login. Stood with the Panther IV there. Great hits in the Sherman, in fact, but risking losing him if he's not careful there. Got quickly popping around the corner. Also, for some reason, he's firing high explosives rather than armor-piercing rounds here, and both of them. Meaning he's relying fully on the anti-tank with the Panther IVs, which certainly can work, but again, this is a slightly more broader map, so I definitely feel like there's some potential risks involved with relying too much on them and not also including the Shermans for just more firepower and taking out the Panther IVs. That's certainly something worth keeping in mind there. As for Prabuty, could go for Stuki. He would also just go for another Panther IV Model J at this point, honestly. And certainly going to go for a commander with Panther IV Model Js. I certainly would recommend at least getting a few of them. Strongly recommend that. Pulling back the Panther IV. Into the rifle squad out in the open.
Send your orders.
Second Sherman almost good to go here. Around these important for the echelons. There you go, 7 of them packing in east here. Prabuty strikes. Almost wiping out their lock-in 3 echelon squad. Close but not quite. Still hasn't bothered upgrading his lieutenant with a light machine gun or laying down any mines. Well, he has laid obviously some mines down, but not a lot though. I still would recommend a lot more. Has the captain equipped? Yes, he has. Thumbs up to that at least. But yeah, more mines I think right now for login would be an incredibly solid investment here versus Prabuty. There you go, Prabuty with another Panther IV Model J. Also the machine gun team that could be grabbed by login, which I think would be a very good idea here. Certainly a bad moment for Prabuty if login runs off with an MD42 team. Bombardment east here. Prabuty's forces they're a bit cornered perhaps. No, login actually was spreading out as attack falls I think perhaps a bit too thinly here. And goes for an artillery strike here against the Gundis, which just quickly dodge out of it. Pioneer's being shot to bits. In fact, looks like one Pioneer's got ripped apart here. Prabuty's struggling a bit to manage it anyway, so kind of works out there a bit for login. Until the strike just ends up doing nothing for the eliminations. It's slightly buying some time against the Grenadiers, but ultimately only some time, and he is still fighting these high explosives in one of the Shermans, which still has great anti-infantry performance, but can't help but feel it slightly ignores the Panther IVs. There we go, Ralph's got wiped there. Good kill here for Prabuty, pushes ahead with the Panther IVs, including his Vettier 2 Panther IV Model J. Other Panther IVs also now have Vettier 2s, it does also have these shots now. Giving a total of 3 up-armored Panther IVs. There goes Sherman, kaput. One insane out in the open. Really turning sour here for login now. As Prabuty strikes for the armored fist of the Third Reich here. Shattering here, login's anti-tank gun assets. Wipe the armored force here. quite a few kills to them. And now the infantry armors against all these Panther forces is definitely also in a lot of trouble. Cat being forced to retreat here. Stood in the fires. Apparently got forgotten here by Lock-in, which is great for Prabuty. Right up in there, damaging the engine of the Panther force, but there's still the overall issue right now that Prabuty is just shattered here, effectively Lock-in's main force here. Caused him quite a few casualties. In fact, at this point, Lock-in's down just some infantry and a mix of light and medium armor. He's going for the Jacksons now, but again, meanwhile, Prabuty's got a fair amount of infantry, anti-tank guns, and of course, crucially, 3 Panther 4s. 2 of them, the Model J. That's not a great spot to be in for the Americans. Not a great spot. Also, I think requires some sharp maneuvering to turn around again. Grab the Western Field from the Grenadiers. Grab the car from the Lieutenant.
Krauts are sniffing around our asses. Tactical point being captured.
Jackson almost done.
Tank destroyer is ready for action.
Still racing sitting out. Westward's got the Sherman up there as well. Sherman was the Grenadiers in the west. Shot there. Panther forming eastwards, 29 kills, going straight for the echelons there. Jackson falling a bit back here, Racing takes some minor losses. Westwards there we got the Lieutenant with his victory point again, but now again the situation on the map has really changed in favour of Prabuty here. Again, I feel in this regard, again, Lock-in just handled it tactically not too well. The focus too much in murdering the infantry, dealing with the Panzers here perhaps also cost him a bit, while also I think crucially engaging the Germans head on. Rather than trying to make use of the geography of the map to outmaneuver Prabuty, instead trying to slug it out, which obviously didn't quite work out for him. Ralph called out flanking the machine gun there though. Again, I feel that was also missed of a Lock-in, not grabbing the MD-42 when he could have. Panther 4 there, halfway to the east level there. Other Panther 4 even closer to that actually, and we got another strike here on Prabuty here. Quickly disengaging from that. East side here, we got the Stuart creeping up with the Grenadiers with the curve point there. But Lock-in is definitely feeling the pressure from Prabuty and the Panzerdivision. Squirrels there evaporated, left homeless, dead, but ultimately no Germans were harmed during that artillery strike. So we'll have to see what Prabuty goes for next. He's more or less at full pop cap though, so guessing not much. Got Jackson on the move. Honestly, I think at this point, what Lock-in should do is actually switch out the Stuart crew with the Jackson crew to get the Jackson interventions one faster. You can actually start popping the HVAC rounds here. Almost lost the Sherman to the anti-tank guns there. Panther will go straight for the captain in the center, absolutely bombarding here with machine guns and main guns, ripping through there. Lock-in's unfortunate captain. In the west here, Lieutenant pushed back by the other Panther 4, which is so close to the east level there. And a nice promotion. There's them being hammered with the Panther 4s, about to get wiped out. Jackson falling back, now that Jackson there for Lock-in, clearly wants to wreck those Panzers now. The question is, how does he do it? Because again, just goes like head on here at Prabuty. This could end up costing him quite a bit. But in the end, if he can like catch Prabuty from an angle he doesn't expect. With the Jacksons, there's definitely a chance to do some heavy damage. Still, victory points-wise, Prabuty is still at 82 versus the now 299 of Login. Login is definitely starting to beat fast now here. As Prabuty and the Panzerdivision is quick to make use of their map control. We also got S-Mons here from Prabuty. Thumbs up. Very good. Good shot there on the Grenadiers. Panther 4 takes an action on the Panther 4, which is now ace level.
Tank destroyer is ready for order.
Going straight for the eastern point. Panther 4 on the move here. Is getting sniped by the Panther 4. 7 kills, close veterans you won. Stewart holding back here for freedom and democracy for now. Reasons they're routed by the Panther 4 Model J. Second, Jackson there also at the ready now for login, freedom and democracy.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
And he's been engaged with the Stewart. We're starting to get the Jackson off squad from the Parnese here. Parnese pushing up further. And further just starting the news around login. And the 3rd Armored Division as Prabuty gets ready to attack head on. There you go. Ace, Panther 4, Model J by the way. Jackson's there firing at the Panther 4 straight for the frontal armor. Other Jackson based in the west here. Bravo squad they're close to being extinct. And the anti-tank being moved way too close up here. That's definitely a mistake here by Prabuty. And could see there we go. One anti-tank crew that wiped out. Railway artillery support called in now here by Prabuty. And then a bait here to stop Login from advancing. Looks like he doesn't care. Or was perhaps pushed forward due to the artillery strike. I don't know. But yeah. Doesn't get his hands on it. There you go. Oh! Lieutenant wiped out by a railway artillery strike. No survivors. Only death. And the rifle squad got wiped on retreat as well. That has got to be the most poorly timed retreats I've seen in some time. When he managed to time them in such a manner they'd like get struck by the railway artillery support. Great though for Prabuty. That is amazing value for 200 munitions. Amazing. But it does mean that Login right now has next to an infantry support his armor with. And again, he's relying heavily on tank destroyers, which means dealing with the anti-tank guns is going to be a particular problem for Login as well. Tactically, it does feel like Login here has kind of hit a bit of a brick wall there head first. He's now picking up his own teeth. Swearing he's going to take down the wall. Instead of like maybe trying to figure out to get around the wall. So looks like another head-on dash here into Prabuty's positions. At the very least, he's going to do something like this. He's going to need to deploy smoke. Preferably with a mortar, of course, with the Sherman also works out, but can he really leverage this, though? At least he's managed to isolate the MD-42. But again, a bigger question is why couldn't he just, like, go up through, say, the eastern field, maybe swing around faster, and then catch Prabuty from an angle where Prabuty may not have been quite as prepared. German, they're still firing high slow shells, at least riding 2 Grenadier squads. Eastern fields perhaps could be a viable option now. But again, will Login actually go that way? Panther Force once more need repairs. Other Panther wing westwards here. Closing an advantage on that one as well. Jackson moving out there with 90mm gun. Shoots and misses. Sherman stood in reserve here. Hard to say what Login is planning with that. Captain in trouble. And push back. Login, though, I think, desperately needs more infantry versus Prabuty. A fresh lieutenant, I think, could be a very good move there. Panther Ace moving straight for the Stewart and the Sherman, which is already vanished. Ha! Just you wait and see, Mr. Crud. Mr. Sherman here. Oh, wait, where did the Sherman go? Oh, crud. Gleason's wiped out, leaving Login further deprived of infantry at a moment, well, not even quite infantry, but certainly, just boots in the ground, at a moment where he critically needs them. Every soldier that can wield a rifle or machine gun here versus Prabuty, and he just lost one. He is going for some replacement rifle at least, which is something, but The critical issue is, does this really help log in when he just keeps feeding men straight into the meat grinder, rather than look for a way to, shall we say, catch Prabuty off guard? He just keeps feeding men into the meat grinder in the hopes that somehow Prabuty may have some kind of kill switch that sets in and, you know, shuts him down after he achieves a certain amount of kills. The problem is, he's not a kill bot with a built-in kill switch. Stuart was looking to use in the east. Smoke being deployed here by the Sherman to try and cover the retreat here. Another railroad to strike here from Prabuty. Oh, righty. Dropping it right outside, I suppose, entrance, because in this case, I think he's just taking advantage of the fact that Larkin just keeps going in a straight line here. So he just calls in artillery onset straight line. Larkin just, you know, struggles to get around it. But there you go. All 3 Panthers are going for the Sudanese side here. Almost got it, in fact. Stuart got a bit lucky. 1 of the 3 Panther forces missed there. And Larkin just further retreating into his base here as the entire area is just under lockdown from the German Wehrmacht. Under strict curfew for Americans.
We're down to 75, goddamn. A capture point is under attack.
73, 70 points left as needed to here, Prabuty. Jackson moving westwards here.
Our supply line's cut. Germans are making a push.
Good shot there.
Armor ready.
Great shot from the Jacks that got the Panther down to almost half health, actually. But I think with the sheer numbers that Prabuty is wielding, even at this point, losing a Panther force is probably not the biggest deal. And there you go, got the ambulance. Another blow here to log in. Freedom and democracy. Sherman, or Jackson, that Panther force there. Panther force could pursue and knock it out, but instead pulls them back for repairs. I guess at this point, it's not that big of a deal here for Prabuty. Sherman, though, going for deep flank here. Nice, but lacking more firepower and then running straight into all the Panther force here. It does ultimately run into an issue there, and the Sherman's about to get knocked out. Kaput. So at this point, it does look like Larkin is just completely falling apart there, like a house of cards in an earthquake zone. Or Westminster. Bravo squad pushing you for the Jackson being fixed up. Now the Sherman there for login. Seems at this point sort of futile here. This is Prabuty and the German Panzerwaffe. The Panzerlehr Panzerdivision stands triumphant. All of its mighty Panther force, which I'd still regard as, you know, by far the best tank in the Wehrmacht in company at the moment, because it's just cost efficient enough. Just cost efficient enough. 29 points left here. Does appear more or less like GG here for login. Appear to be complete, not a GG. At this point, it's just more a futile struggle. Theatrics. More than anything. Still knocked out.
Sherman ready.
Almost got one in the Panther force here, though. Almost, but again, not quite there. Not quite. 12 points here left as 82. Panther falls on the move. He anti-tanks on the move as well. There, Jackson's now being set up in such a manner they can actually be cut off here with the anti-tanks and the Panther force here. Pretty much surrounded. The Jacksons are, at this point, I think, pretty much toast here, short of a miracle here in divine intervention. Or state intervention. Almost got one of the Jacksons here. Lost to Sherman. Lost to Jackson. He's lost almost all his infantry as well. Panther 4 there abandoned. A small win here for login. Prabuty there deploying smoke. Goes for it. Almost lost the Panther 4, but again, the Ace ensures he can just finish off the Jackson with that. It is GG, game over. A loss here for login. A victory for Prabuty. A victory for Deutschland. A fierce fight here, but in the end, I think login was slightly betrayed here by his tactical decisions. Again, I feel like when he had the opportunity, he started getting really lazy. Relied heavily on head-on attacks without deploying smoke. Also could have done with some artillery here versus Prabuty. I think that also been quite handy. And of course, just the sheer lack of mind to think further gave Prabuty the operational advantage he needed here. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match and learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment. And of course, consider donating or pledging on Patreon to support the Propagandacast, and it's glory's worth it. This is Imperial LinkedIn. Cheers, and see you all tomorrow for another episode. Bye.